Hey, welcome back to Kahn's Reggae Production Corner. So now we got episode 5. We're talking vocals. Our rhythm is sounding good now on its own. So we're going to add some vocals that my friend Kapena recorded for us. And basically what we're going to be looking at is when someone sends you vocals that aren't the best quality, like in these particular vocals, there's a little bit of noise. So we're going to look at kind of getting rid of the background noise. We're going to look at EQ and compression. Basically, that's all it really comes down to. If you get good at EQ and compression, then, I mean, you're 80-90% there. So we're going to scoop out. We're going to also look at filters like high pass filters. So I'm going to run a channel strip on all the vocals, a special plugin for getting rid of background noise, and then we're going to split up the track from just 3 tracks to kind of harmony tracks, pan left and right. There will be sort of they're harmonies, but they kind of take up the lead spot because it's like a question and answer portion. So we'll take a look at that and kind of how I split up the tracks, I think into 6 or 8 tracks. Just because there were different parts to the vocals. They're kind of intricate. So I really like what Kapena did with it, but we needed to cut them up into different portions and kind of maybe EQ them a little bit different, definitely pan them different. The lead will go straight through, no pan throughout the whole thing. But and then we will also bus the vocals to their own bus track like we've been doing throughout the whole song. And then we'll kind of listen to it when it's all done. And then the next episode will be on mixing and kind of my thought process on where the levels and pans of each track kind of go. So let's take a look over at the computer and get started. Okay, before we delve into the vocals here, I'm just gonna show that I changed the drum roll in the very beginning. Before it was like da 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 doom. Now it's like ba da 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 doom. Right? I think it just adds a nice little flavor to it. So anyways, this episode is on vocals. So I have Kapena's vocals here, and we'll just take a look at these here. These are all dry. If you look on the mixer here, there's nothing on the channel strips here. I got the lead, high harmony, mid harmony, and I wrote original or OG because later on I'll show you we got a bunch more tracks where I've kind of split them up onto different files, and I'll explain why. But as of right now, let's just listen to what we have so far with them just raw.
Pull up the pressure on the rhythm. Please don't pull up the pressure on the bass, 'cause it is so nice.
Beautiful
so
harmonies.
Nice.
I just love it.
Hey, pull up the pressure on the rhythm. Please don't pull up the pressure on the bass, 'cause it is so nice. Got to play it twice. So hard, so hard, so hard, hard. The music is always on my mind, every day and night, 'cause it is the feel, the feel, the feel. 'Cause you know you got to do it right, got to do it right. rhythm and a couple system. All of my brethren from my youth, a crucial meditation. You know it's one blood. Humble soul and the THC so heavy. And lastly, a master Kahn. They give me the inspiration. And so it's one love. Hey, 'cause their vibes so hard, so hard, so hard. The music is always on my mind, every day and night. 'Cause it is the feel, the feel, the feel. 'Cause you know you got to do it right, got to do it right. Hey.
Okay, really great song. I love it. Thank you so much, Kapena, for recording this for the video, and yeah, I really appreciate you, bro. Anyways, let's talk about what's going on here. So I don't know if you noticed, but it's pretty noisy. The interface that's being used, or the mic or whatever it is just kind of noisy. So we're gonna need to address that. And also, you know, like any vocal performance, you're gonna have quiet parts and louder parts. And as of right now, the harmonies are pretty much the same volume, like a little bit lesser than the lead. And obviously the lead needs to take the lead and be louder. So they're great tracks, but we just need to do some cleanup. So what I did is, I think I muted this very beginning. I think I had it come in like right here. I thought that was let the track breathe a little bit before having a nice little vocal run there. And then I split these tracks, I believe, into 6, because there's a couple parts where like the harmonies are kind of doing the lead part. Let's see if I can find one of those. Yeah, right here.
And when I come home from a long day at work.
And when I come home, see, that part is really kind of a lead that needs to stand up, but I can't have it really be on the same track as the harmonies, like say in the chorus, this like with a 3-part harmony, they sound good all 3 at the same time. So I think I find it easier, instead of arranging it with like the arrangement tool and doing volume and, you know, this for this part, raising it up. I just hate doing that, and I don't think that that's, well, it's not how they had it back in the day. So I try and keep it. I don't use a lot of automation, which, you know, I'm sure a lot of people do. I don't hate on it. It's just not something that I do a lot. I might do it here or there. I might actually do it a little bit on the horns on this song. But typically, if I find something that I want just a little bit louder to sit properly, I'll just raise it, and I'll show you how to do that. But anyways, I just want to explain how I split it up. So I have, let's just unhide these. So right here, I have, just make this a little smaller. I got the lead here all on its own, because it's great just the way it is. And then kind of in the verse here, I have the harmonies, and they're panned left and right. And then this is kind of that lead area here. And then I forget why I split it up again, because this is kind of the lead as well. So these need to sit in the right volume as like a background vocal, right, left and right. And then these here, I kind of split them up so that it's kind of the lead parts, if that makes sense. So I'm just gonna get rid of these here, mute all those, and then we can listen to what I did with all of these. And then I'll show like what I did. I bust them all to this vocal bus, and I EQ'd and I fixed a bit of the noise issue. So let's just listen a little bit to how it sounds like. Here, let's look at the plugins first. Here we go. So these are the ones. I'm actually gonna just delete these 3 because we don't need them anymore. Okay, so now these are all my vocals. Here's the lead, and I have this this plugin excuse me, from Waves. It's called X Noise, and what it does is you learn the noise profile, and so it kind of listens to the noise of the track, not like when it's playing, but just like the noise itself, the hum or whatever, and you can mess with the threshold and the reduction. So let's just listen to it. What else do I have? A de-esser. De-essers are really good for taking out the sibilance of the S, because you need to typically raise the volume of the vocal, but you don't want that S to be piercing and loud, so that'll duck it. It's kind of like a compressor, but only for frequencies around this frequency, 4500. So anyways, let's just listen to the lead here. And then I also have a channel strip here, and I have a tape saturation, which I'm kind of using. This is an awesome tape saturation plugin, and I'm using it kind of like as a slap delay for the lead part, right? And on this one here, the lead 2, I call it, I did a similar type of thing, so that the lead sticks out. It's got a nice little slap delay on it. But I'm just going to turn all these off and kind of show you the difference that this denoiser does. So without.
Oh no.
See it, like it's gone.
Please no pull up the pressure on the rhythm. Please no pull up the pressure on the bass, 'cause it is so nice. So nice.
Listen to the background noise.
Pull up the pressure on the rhythm. Please no pull up the pressure on the bass.
Now it doesn't really sound natural, right? It's taking out a lot of frequencies. So in my channel strip, I have added some more sibilance back and some other, I've EQ'd it and I've compressed it with this channel strip as well. But this tool is really great because, when you're given a vocal that kind of sounds like it has a lot of noise, then this is like crucial. You can't put it out there with it having a lot of noise, right? So this is a cool tool. I think Logic even has one. Logic, I'm not positive where it is, but I think it's called, I forget where it is. Anyways, it's called Denoiser, but I'm not sure where it is because I used the one from Waves. But anyways, I have this on every single vocal track just to clean it up. It's the very first thing on the channel strip here, and then I have a de-esser, but I'm gonna turn on the channel strip, and you'll hear a big difference.
Please no pull up the pressure on the rhythm. Please no pull up the pressure on the bass, 'cause it is
See
so
how
nice.
it's off right now. It's kind of muddy sounding.
So nice.
It's because I had to take a lot of 300 hertz out, and I have the filter here
Please
at
no
145.
pull up the pressure on the bass, 'cause it is so nice.
And I have it pretty gated
Got to
as
play
well.
it twice.
So in the
'Cause
mix,
this vibe's so hard, so hard, hard. The music is always on my mind.
it sounds good.
Every day and night.
I turned off this plugin.
Every day and night. 'Cause it is the feel, the feel.
See, you still get that hiss. Even though it's gated, you can still
'Cause you know
hear
you
it.
got to do it right.
This denoiser is really good.
Got to do it right. Hey.
And you can see how it is compressing the heck out of this, right? This is I started with a preset, one of these vocal ones. I forget, it's just called lead vocal, but I've changed almost all the parameters. But it was a good starting point because it gave me kind of my amount of compression, and it seems like a lot, but the vocal has to sit in the front. And also with these lower volume things, it's going to bring those up in volume, and these transients, it's going to lower them in volume. So it's going to make it kind of all one, not like pretty close to one volume, not completely, because it's still dynamic, but it was getting up into the 14 dB of gain reduction, which is a lot. It's more than I would typically do, but I used this this guy here, the preset, and it sounded good to me, so I left it, right? And then the de-esser, I don't know where there's an S on this track, but let's just listen.
'Cause you know you got to do it right. Got to do it right. Hey.
So it's even kind of acting as a compressor as well, but
From a long day at work, your music is on my mind. Oh, now.
yeah,
Hey.
it might not be doing a ton on the lead one, but and then this
I turn up the roots and everything feels alright.
I don't know if you can even hear the delay on it.
I turn up the roots and everything feels alright. Thank you, Jah.
Right?
This vibe's so hard,
Just makes
so hard, hard. The music is always on my mind.
sitting right in the front. It's great.
Every day and night, 'cause it is the feel, the feel, feel.
Okay, let's listen to the background harmonies, and you can see I have them panned adversely.
Bass, 'cause it is so nice, so nice.
Yeah, the de-esser's definitely kicking in when it says so nice. So let's watch it.
Nice, so nice. Hey,
The de-esser's really crucial. But yeah, I love these harmonies. They sound so good.
bass, 'cause it is so nice. Got to play it twice. 'Cause this vibe's so hard.
So here's the other part. These now, it's like, because these vibes are hard, and it's like hard, right? So that's kind of on its own. It's not playing at the same time as the lead. So that's why I've made it a separate track, because these are going to have to be louder in volume than these are, because these are background supporting the lead. These are playing when the lead, these are being sung when the lead's not being sung. So listen to that.
So hard, so hard, hard. The music is always on my mind.
Listen, 21 dB. And these were at 9.
'Cause it is the feel, the feel, feel. 'Cause you know you got to do it right. Got to do it right. Hey.
Okay, then that brings us to the other, it's like, and when I come home, sorry, I'm not a vocalist, but, so this is on their own as well, but this one, I kind of made the lead, and this one's the harmony, so it couldn't be on this track, because these are panned like left and right. This one's pretty much center. It's taking up the lead spot. I tried moving this to the lead, but it didn't sound quite right, so I wanted to make it on its own, right? So let's listen to that.
And when I come home from a long day at work, your music is on my mind. Oh, now, hey. And when I'm feeling low, I turn up the roots.
See how it's like, it kind of sounds like the lead, but it's not EQ'd exactly the same, because I want it to kind of have a different vibe. It has more like lows in it. You know, it's supposed to kind of be, it's a lead, but it's kind of like a background lead, if I don't know. So I put it on its own track, and then this one here, this track here is like supporting this track. So it's lower in volume, it's panned a little bit, it's got more reverb than the lead one. And this, I'm calling it lead vocal 2, has that same slap delay on it, right? So
and everything feels alright.
and then I'm bussing everything.
Thank you, John. This vibe's so hard.
Just a little bit more compression.
The music is always on my mind.
And you notice I have a fast attack here, right? 0.3. That's 30 milliseconds, I think. And like a medium, like 3 to 1 ratio is kind of like, it's a little bit harsh, but not extreme. Like 4 or 6 would be getting up there closer to, like 10 is considered a limiter, I believe. And it has a really fast release time as well. And then I've just dialed the threshold so that it doesn't get more than about 4 dBs of gain reduction. And the knee is set to a medium knee. So it's not like really, like hard would be drastic, like you could hear it more. Soft would be like you can't really hear it compressing it. I don't know, I can't really explain thresholds. You just gotta, or knees, you gotta play with them. This is a really great API compressor, and I just wanted to add a different flavor, right? Because I've been using pretty much the SSL, the Kramer Pi as my compressor. So on the vocal bus, that's this, I wanted a different vibe. So this is like gluing the vocals together, right? When the chorus happens, you got the lead, which is here, and the 2 harmonies, which are left and right. That's these 3 here. These 3. When they all play together, I want them to all almost sound like one, right? As a nice tight 3-part harmony. So adding a little bit of compression, just like I'm doing on all my other buses, just helps give that vibe. So that's that. And then I'm adding a little bit of EQ on the whole thing too. I took out some low mids or some low frequency at 300. And this here is what they call a shelf. So everything 300 and below is being dropped off. Like, so if I had to show you what that looks like, that would be this guy, and it would look like start at 300 and it would drop down how many dBs? 1.73. So not a lot, but I don't know what the curve is, right? I'm not really sure what it looks like on this, but this is basically what it's doing. It's less exaggerated than that, but that's what this shelf is. Similar with this one, the high frequency one, that's this shelf. So everything above, I didn't even touch it, but everything above, say 5800 hertz, it's going to raise. And this is a natural sounding curve. That's why shelves are nice. When you're doing something like this, it's going to sound very unnatural. So if you're going to do not a shelf but a peak, then it's better to have it a little bit rounded, something like that. But anyways, I'm getting away from the vocals here. So what I'm showing you is the bus here. All of these tracks are sent to bus 14, all my vocal tracks, and that's this here, which I probably should have changed the color to match if I could find it. Whatever, I'm gonna change all these to this color. There we go. So all these are being bussed to this, right? Like if I were to solo this, oops, it would be all the vocals.
Oh, now, hey. And when I'm feeling low, I turn up the roots and everything feels alright.
Right? I mean, you can still hear some artifacts, you can still hear some of that noise and stuff, but I mean, I've cleaned it up as best as I could. In the mix, you can't hear that stuff. It sound, you'd have to really be listening for it. So I think it sounds pretty good the way it is. But let's just listen now. We listened earlier to the whole song with it just raw, the no plugins, nothing panned. So this now is kind of how I've mixed it. You know, my lead is dead center. I got my background vocals panned left and right. I got my harmonies, the ones that play on their own, I got panned left and right. This second little lead right here and its harmony pretty much center and a little bit off. So let's just take a listen and enjoy this awesome song.
On the rhythm, please no pull up the pressure on the bass, 'cause it is so nice, so nice. Hey, pull up the pressure on the rhythm, please no pull up the pressure on the bass, 'cause it is so nice.
I was wondering why it sounded all weird. It's because I put an EQ on that lead vocal and it was like super sibilant. Okay, let's try that again. Delete this. My bad. Okay, let's listen again. Much better.
Please no pull up the pressure on the rhythm, please no pull up the pressure on the bass, 'cause it is so nice, so nice. Hey, pull up the pressure on the rhythm, please no pull up the pressure on the bass, 'cause it is so nice. You got to play it twice. So hard, so hard, so hard, hard. The music is always on my mind, every day and night, 'cause it is the feel, the feel, the feel, feel. 'Cause you know you got to do it right, got to do it right.
I've put up all the channel strips for each one. Lead vocal, background left and right, harmony left and right, lead 2 and its harmony.
A vertical rhythm and a carpool system. All of my bridging from my youth, a crucial meditation. You know it's one blood, humble soul and the THC. And lastly, a master Kahn. They give me the inspiration. And so it's one love. Hey, 'cause their vibe's so hard, so hard, so hard, hard, hard.
hope that you guys get an idea of how I'm EQing, compressing, gating, de-essing. That's that, right? And as far as theory of mixing, your lead is always the loudest, and then you just want the background not to be competing in volume with the lead, right? That's the idea. It's to support it, but it's not to distract it, and it's not to sound like there's 3 guys singing in your ear, right? It's supposed to be one guy with the sweet harmony. So before I was talking about how I didn't really like to use automation, but there are a couple spots in this song where the vocals do need to be edited. So I know one of them is right here. I'm just going to show you how I kind of, if it's just a couple things, I usually go and I edit it like this. So let's just listen. So the O now and A is a little bit quiet. So I'm going to double click this on file, make it follow the playhead, and I'm just gonna go functions, change gain, and bump it up a little and listen to it again. That sounds a little better.
And when I'm feeling low, I turn on my mind. Oh, now, hey.
Yeah, maybe another dB. And this part here, I'll bring up 2 dB. I know if you had to do this on the whole thing, excuse me, it would be like ridiculously time consuming, but the compressor that I'm using on this lead vocal track pretty much does what I need it to do. So yeah, that was just one little part. I just wanted to show you guys how you can do that. You can edit the actual file and make things louder and quieter. So anyways, let's take a look now at what I did with the reverbs, right? Bus 1 is the reverb that I've been using on everything, right? It's this spring reverb from Logic, and I use a little bit of it almost on every track, right? Except for maybe the bass. Yeah. There's just a hint or a lot on every track. The Skank has a lot. The Timbali has a lot. And a little bit of delay. Bus 2 is delay. But anyways, so what I wanted was it to sound like, because it was sounding too washed out. At first I started with just the spring reverb, but it's really kind of bright sounding, so I wanted this another reverb, so I added this hall. And what I did here is let's just solo the hall, actually. I EQ'd it. I took out a lot. Let's turn the EQ off so you can see how it's pretty muddy. It's a nice sounding reverb. But it was too muddy, right, with the EQ off. See, that doesn't sound good.
Mr. Kahn, they give me the inspiration. So it's one love.
It's a nice compliment.
'Cause they're
all right, I'm gonna listen to it with the spring as well.
so and the THC. So and lastly, a Master Kahn, they give me.
Well, I can't really do that because you're hearing the reverb from the other tracks, but I needed something.
Give me the inspiration. So it's one love.
You get the real bright from the spring, and you get kind of a nice creamy, lower. Got a lot in the mids here. I ducked them down a lot, but it sounds good, and kind of dreamy, which reverb should. But I just wanted to show that I found one that I liked, but I go, oh, it's just kind of muddy, but the tonality of the reverb is really nice. So I came in and I added an EQ, and now it sounds really good. This will be with both because I'm soloing all the vocals, so the spring reverb will show up and the hall as well.
Crucial meditation, you know it's one blood.
So you can hear the tail.
One blood.
It's got a nice kind of resonance going on. That's two different reverbs, and I have, like on the background, I have more reverb than on the lead, which I think is typical. I mean, there's quite a bit of reverb in general, which I'm mixing this song to have a more vintage feel. You would have a lot less reverb in a more modern sounding song, but I'm trying to make a good mixture of kind of 80s vibe and a little bit, fresh. So the volume of the vocals is another critical thing, because newer music, the vocals are louder. They sit on top. Like if you listen to anything on the radio, the vocals are sitting on top of the song. This is kind of in the mix, but it's like a bit up than I would say a normal song.
You got to do it right. Got to do it right.
All right. So that's pretty much vocals. Yeah, let's see. And then, so next episode, we're going to talk about mixing. And like I said earlier in the other videos, I want to talk a little bit about like what my thought process is in mixing. Now you can see here that I have all these things, all these other channel EQs and some other stuff going on. That's because once I added the vocals, then I go, and not everything's sitting right in the mix, right? So I've made some EQ decisions. Like I mess with the bass and the kick to make them match a little bit better. And then I also mess with some of the rhythm section EQ so that the vocals can shine through, as well as I can so I can hear everything. But anyways, this has been episode 5 of Kahn's Reggae Production Corner. I hope that you learned something. I was able to teach you something. So get out there and make some good reggae music, all right? Peace.